Hi everybody.
Hello.
It's cold.
So we're in bed. I'm not even ready for bed. I've got
Really?
things to do. But
We are on Genesis
bit of a
chapter
zoo in here.
45.
A cat on us. And
Yes.
2 dogs. And
Oh, sorry. Okay.
can't do that.
Yeah, can't do that. So we're on Genesis chapter 45, and everything coming to a head. Joseph chases all his house staff out, and they can hear him as he wailing and weeping as he reveals his true identity to his brothers. And he's going, bros.
His brothers are shocked. They don't know
Shocked.
what they're doing.
It's me, Joseph. And he was weeping and saying to them, hey, don't be mad. It wasn't you. It was God that sent me here. And they were in shock. And he was asking about about his father, Jacob, and how's he doing. And then he was weeping on his brother Benjamin's neck, and then weeping on the necks of all of his brothers. And then Pharaoh heard the good news, him and all his servants, and then he called them before him and saying, take these wagons and bring your little ones, your cattle, your herds, and your father, and bring them down to the promised land. And Joseph, when he's before sending them away, 10 male donkeys loaded with stuff, grain and the good things of Egypt. Going back a bit, Pharaoh was saying to them, "Yeah, come down and have the good land of Egypt, being Goshen." And so, packing stuff for his brothers and his dad, and he gives them all like clothing, but for Benjamin, 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothing, and then loads up all this stuff for his dad, for them to go back to Canaan. And so they go back, they take back all the goods, and then they tell everything to Jacob, and he is revived, and he's in awe and wonder, and the brothers are telling him about all the good things that Joseph has done, and how he's the father. That's when Joseph was saying to his brothers, I am the father of Pharaoh. That's a very interesting way to describe himself, the father of Pharaoh. And so Jacob is very, very happy, and he talking about like, I will go and see my son before I die. It would have been very incredible, a great moment of revelation. But you think with the brothers that what's going through their head, oh wow, this is our bro, oh my gosh, after what we did. But he like Joseph said in this chapter, which was, I loved it, dear, that God sent me before you to save our family, and to save our family. So not only revealing his identity, but the plan of God to his brothers, and again saying to them about, don't be angry with yourselves. This is the plan of God.
Yeah. No, that's really awesome. I liked it.
Yeah.
There was something he says like in verse 12, and behold, your eyes and the eyes of my brother Benjamin see that it is my mouth that speaks to you. I was like, wow.
Because in the Amplified it's talking about how Joseph is it's me, because I'm talking to you without an interpreter. So he was talking to them in the mother tongue, their mother tongue.
So you should tell my father of all my glory in Egypt, and of all that you have seen. And you shall hurry and bring my father down here.
It would have been building up a lot in him. He wanting to to confess, wanting to reveal his identity. But again, the question begs the question, why did you put your brothers through all that rigmarole instead of just revealing yourself right from the outset when upon the first meeting? We can ask Joseph that when we get to heaven. So, yeah. And what did you take away from today's reading, lady?
There's so many good takeaways to take away from the story of Joseph. Just his character and how his father had raised him really well for 17 years. He had a trusting relationship with Jacob. That, you know, well, you could say he was you know, what do you call it, a reporter of sorts.
A reporter.
Yeah, like he always, you know, gave his honest thing of what the brothers were up to. But there's so many good takeaways in regards to Joseph's character as also like the authority that he had. So he could have gone back at any time knowing that there was what do you call it, a famine in the land. He could have gone back to Canaan and found his family at any time, but how God just, you know, brings the boys to him. It wasn't maybe on his heart to go find his family at the time.
Sense of urgency in this chapter too, because it was 2 years into the 7-year famine, so there was still 5 years, and so there would have been a sense of urgency, like, hey, tell Dad to come down because I'll look after you guys, I'll provide for you and that, and the famine is still harsh in the land. But
when they explain to Joseph's father, Jacob, they don't say that they had done anything wrong.
At no point in this chapter.
In this chapter, they don't.
You don't hear apologies or anything like that.
Or they just go back to Jacob and say, "Oh, our brother is alive, and he is governor," but they don't go and tell him what they've done to him.
How Joseph ended up there.
Maybe in the next chapters he finds out, because then he blesses the children, doesn't he?
Yeah, we're gonna pardon me, hear about the two sons that become the the half tribes.
Yeah,
later on.
Yeah.
But that is to come. But it was a great chapter. You think about, maybe for those watching, about how you are like a Joseph in your family. Maybe you're the first to go to university. You're a pioneer in a particular field, and you being the first in your family to do something, and that paving the way for other members of your family coming after you.
Can I use the charger for the laptop?
Which one?
It's this one, but I'll bring it back. It's a fast charger. I can just charge it.
Yeah. Just make sure, please. So Joseph being the savior of his family and generation. Guys, please keep it down. So, great takeaways from this chapter, and like you said there, around Joseph's character.
I think he stored up a lot of his emotions, when it came to his... But he kept his... what I mean was, he kept his emotions intact.
In check?
While operating as the first,
as the Prime Minister.
Over the thing. And I guess he didn't want to see... Because he tells the servants to leave.
But then they could all hear, so he would have been wailing loudly, and all that pent-up emotion coming to the surface, not being able to handle it anymore, and just releasing, because we're talking about years and years of separation from his mother, his dad, and his youngest brother, who he was closest to. But I'm sure he still would have had love for his other brothers.
Well, I think too, like when you go through trials like that sort of situation, you would grow some sort of resilience because you've tasted and seen like
That the
the
Lord is
worst
good.
of the worst, you know, being at the bottom in the pit and seeing, you know, rejection from his brothers.
It would have kept him grounded too, as a slave, and then head of the house, being thrown into prison, then being put in charge of prisoners, and then being elevated to the position of second only to Pharaoh in all of Egypt, and taking into account at that time Egypt being one of the great superpowers, world powers at the time, geopolitically. But that was a great reading.
My reading was late.
Yeah, mine was really. We had a really big fight last night, but we're able to talk about it now. After having some, when we have big arguments, I tend to hold on to things, and I went to sleep quite late. But that's something that I need to work on. It's not like we were screaming at each other. But there were some things said in the heat of the moment that we both apologised to each other for, so that's good.
Just being honest.
Just being honest. We have our ups and downs, but I don't like when we fight, because, like, when I'm at work and that, I can feel there's something just not right in my spirit.
It carries it. I don't.
No. You're very good at that. You are so good at releasing things.
Carry things that
no.
If it's from a place of fear and anger, it goes quickly.
Yeah.
It's like I don't hold on to stuff like that. I just get rid of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm going to sleep. And I just fell asleep. I'm like...
Oh, she fell asleep all right.
I don't snore.
Oh.
It's not even
okay.
funny.
It's one of the 10 commandments about not lying, but anyhow.
Anyway, I took the dogs for a walk.
Yeah.
Went up the Maunga. It was so beautiful. You know, we've had so much wet weather, and I was like, I refuse to participate in this wet weather. Give me some sun.
And our fast is going well. It's getting a bit of getting used to it. So yes, not just the physical aspect in terms of change of diet and food intake, but just as, if not more important, the spiritual side. I'm pressing into to Papa for our future.
Yes.
And the future of our children and future
you just
generations.
Don't know what the spiritual side of things, the significance of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, you think it's, and again, it's like Joseph you're preserving something, but you don't know what it is. You might never know.
Yeah.
You might be. It's like the prayers of some ancient prayers, or not ancient prayers, but the prayers we prayed. Maybe, you know, when you're praying in tongues, even maybe for the sake of a country overseas we don't even know. You don't know what angelic hosts are doing. I suppose you could have a peek and ask.
And then
I had a friend that had a very bad experience with tooth extractions and stuff. And I said to her, she was like, oh, just some prayer and that. Anyway, I said to her, go into heaven, go and ask Jesus for a strategy, what's going on. And we talked about, I said, anything else going on? And she said, I've had lots of people cursing me. And I said to her, well, you got to speak blessing over there, bless those that curse you.
Blessing for cursing, yeah.
Instead of, I rebuke, those that curse me. No, the key is to bless those that curse you in the new covenant.
Yeah.
So it was really important to, sometimes things just drop into your spirit to just relay that.
Yeah.
And prayer, the power of prayer.
Yeah.
And she had excruciating pain from this tooth extraction. And they thought that she may need some facial something, some sort of operation. It's like deep tissue pain. Why have you still got pain? It shouldn't be in anymore.
And what ended up happening? Did she have remnants of the extracted tooth in her gum or something?
Well, it broke. The tooth did break, but they think they got it all. But again, it's like sometimes we think we've got to rebuke something when actually it's God saying, no, that's not what I say. It's not what I mean. Maybe, go to heaven, ask Jesus for a strategy, because I've done that plenty times. When things aren't going the way I think they should go. And yeah, that's just been key. And you're using your imagination by faith. You're not using it like divination. It's just by faith. And I think when it's divination, you're acting, wrong doorway. Jesus is the doorway, the only door. So, yeah.
Okay, everybody.
All right. Night.
Good night. Go out, change the world.
Stay warm.